welcome back to Man Matters podcast. Today we've got a special guest who is I've not only shared the competition with, but who's also making a big moves in jiu-jitsu scene. He's a Pedigo Submission Fighting affiliate, the owner of his own martial arts gym, and recently had the honor of hosting the pound for pound best grappler in the world, Gordon Ryan, for a training session in his academy. On top of that, he's stepped into the commentary game, calling the action a fight to win event, and he's gearing up to host his own jiu-jitsu event this weekend. We'll talk about his journey from competitor to coach, what it's like to run the gym, and his thought on the future of the sport. This is going to be a great conversation, so let's get into it, sir.
Awesome, man. I'm excited, man, to talk about all that stuff. We're gonna unpack a lot here. Many good.
So how did you, I remember going against you in Naga. That's my first submission tournament that I did. I just got my blue belt that previous month, and I signed up okay, let's do sign up for the bracket, and it was a nightmare, to say the least.
Hey, but it was not. That match was, sometimes you're like, man, I want to run that back. After that one, I think we both were gassed. There was a lot of push and pulling. It was good though, man. That was a fun match. But I remember right after walking off, I was like, yeah, I don't want to run that one back right now. I was like, we'll wait for a little bit. I was like, I'm tired, man.
Yeah, me too. I was shaking. I was like, dude, oh man, I was gassed. And they told me, oh, you're up next. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, for real. Sometimes Naga don't care, man. Sometimes they'll be like, all right, man, I know you got your 2 minutes. Let's go. Let's run another. We got to go.
Yeah, we got an event to run.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun one. How did your journey leave competing to running your own gym?
Yeah, man. So basically, this was 7 years ago. My uncle and me started just it was called Indian Land Martial Arts Club. We were literally when we really started, when I say it was a hole in the wall, it was actually an old fire station. And literally there was 2 injuries that sent people into the hospital because they shrimped into a lawnmower that was stored there. And that's literally when I say hole in the wall, this was a hole in the wall. And then basically what happened, we wanted to make it a little bit more official. So he opened up a very small 1,200 square feet, little facility. And at the time I was I had my son on the way. I took my first MMA fight, an amateur in Virginia. I want to do it in Virginia because you could throw knees and elbows to the head. I wanted to ultimately get ready for pro. And then basically after that, I talked to my uncle and I was like, man, it's kind of hard coaching, but then also chasing this dream to try to be a professional fighter. So I kind of told him, I was like, hey, I can't do both. And I thought he was going to be like, all right, go chase your dream of go be a fighter. And then he was like, instead of saying that, he was like, the gym is yours. And I was like, okay. I went to school for kinesiology, played college football. I never was like, man, I want to be a gym owner. If that makes sense. That was never something that crossed my mind. And yeah, man, he was like, and then I got thrown into not only coaching, but running a gym. And, I think it's one of those things you can do all these classes for business. Running a gym is different. If it was easy, everybody would do it. The one thing I will say that I believe that helped me go from a relatively small, no one knew about us, man. We're Indian Land Martial Arts Club. This was 7 years ago. We used to be Indian Land MMA after that, but it was because I asked my wife that was, even pregnant at the time, hey, can I go all in on this gym for 8 months to a year? And if it didn't work, I'll quit. And that's literally, she was able to, have an accounting job and was able to float where, the gym, when I took it over, the gym was mine. It was, breaking even, some months losing $300, so it went from, yeah, man, and that's kind of how it started. I never meant to jump into the full-time coaching role, the full-time owning. So, but yeah, man, it's kind of crazy.
That was a really quick transition then.
Yeah, it really was, man. It was just I didn't have time to even think about it. It was he was like, I'm done, and then it was all right, cool. And then, so, it wasn't I would say now I'm more in a coaching role, and I'll jump into randomly, I did pans a couple years ago. I'll randomly do an open in Florida, but it's at the point now where like, man, if we have like at a local tournament, if we have 30 students competing, like I did it one time where I remember competing, and I remember in the match looking over as a student's match, like literally. And after that, I was like, I'm never like, I don't want to be, you know what I mean? When we have that many students, I felt like it was, you know, it was time to focus on getting other people better. Cause at the end of the day, like, I mean, I think there is definitely value with your coach competing, right? I think that is very important. But at the end of the day, as a coach, my goal, where I'm getting judged off is if I can make you better. Can I make the adult better? Can I make the soccer mom that's 40 years old? Can I make her good at jiu-jitsu? We have a huge kids team. So I have to now at this point, and an MMA team. That was the other thing too, is like, you know, sometimes you might focus on one aspect where it's like, for us, I got thrown into all of it. When we opened the gym, I was the head kickboxing coach. I was the head MMA coach. I was the head grappling coach. And so, yeah, man, it got kind of crazy.
Yeah, the teaching plan for a coach is like just for one sport is like stressful, but yeah, having all those sports at the same time and trying to put them together. I can't imagine how much time do you have during the day for all that, and then running a gym at the same time.
Yeah, and the other thing that's kind of crazy was I always thought, you know, it kind of go hand in hand, but like someone can be an amazing coach, but not a good business person, or the other way. They could be really good at business, but not a good, you know, you have to have a balance. And then the other thing too, you know, is have 3 kids. So it's like, you know, being good at business, being a good coach, trying to be a good dad. Me personally competing falls the last out of all of those. You know what I mean? I want to be a good coach. I want to be a good dad. I want to be being able to run a business. Because in the day, if I'm bad at business, that means that people have less training partners. And if we have less training partners, we're not as successful as a team. So
that's really interesting. I mean, yeah, I feel like that's got to be the focus. I'm curious, do you miss competing as much as you want?
Yeah, man. Some days, like some days, really, what it comes down when I miss competing is the students just like motivate the crap out of me, dude. Like they'll be like a come from behind win or something. I'm like, dang, man, I want to get part of that. Or if it's like a close match and like, you know, I'm like, I want to jump in there with them, you know. But you know, at this point, it's like I have gotten to the point where now what brings me happiness is seeing the students get their hand raised more than like if I go and I get gold. It's like, no, it's crazy. If you win, you feel like you're like, whatever. If you lose, you think about it forever, you know? But now it's like I get so much like joy and happiness out of seeing people succeed. And the cool thing is, it's like, it's not just the adult, you know, trying to be ADCC champs, right? It could literally be a 50-year-old female athlete that's never done a sport in her life. It could be, you know, the 60-year-old that got in jiu-jitsu for self-defense and seeing them go out to like, they never thought they were going to go to Las Vegas and compete at Master World. You know what I mean? It's so awesome to see that. And the kids team, man, like I love those kids. I treat them like my own. And, you know, so yes, I do miss it, but not as much as now that I'm so immersed in every weekend, like literally every weekend I'm coaching now. I don't even have time to miss it. Like I'm just so involved. So
It is a different kind of stressful as well, because before you're so worried about your performance, but then like certain things are out of your control when you're coaching somebody else. Like certain things the match goes hard, and then like it's really close match. It's like it's out of your control at times. And it's like, but when you see that victory, it's like those close matches. It's weird because your matches, you're like, oh, that's just a relief. But when somebody else does well, you're like, oh, thank God.
Right. It's the best, man. The worst, like, I don't know if you guys know what like the Whoop is, but it's like a heart rate monitor. And it's like one time, the last like MMA event, I was just like, I just want to see. So I hit start workout right before cornering. And then I got out and was like, man, I'm killing myself. Cause like that heart rate was like, it was the same as if I swear if I would have like a practice, like there was no different. Like it was, you know, it's just, you know, even like, cornering MMA, that's the most joy. That's the highest of high, lowest of lows. You know, at a jiu-jitsu match, if we drop a jiu-jitsu match, guess what? We can go compete next week. For some of these, you know, guys and girls on the team, it's like their MMA fights. If you drop an MMA fight, you know, you're going to see your team no, everyone wants to talk about this. You're going to see your team knock somebody out. That's the best ever. But also, guess what? If you're an MMA team, you're going to be on the other side of some of these. And that's like the MMA coaching is like, again, it's the highest of highs and, you know, some lows for sure. So, but it's all good, good times though. So,
Yeah. You recently have became affiliate for Pedigo Submission Fighting. What led you that way to join them?
yeah. So basically what happened, and I'm going to say this in the most, you know, try to not be like too crazy when I say this, but previously we're under a different affiliation. And basically, you know, what it came down to, sometimes these other affiliations is I didn't know I didn't even know the head person, if that makes sense. You know, some of these big affiliations, or you didn't have an actual relationship with the head person. You're basically paying for a logo. You're sending them money every month to be part of an affiliation. And I'll be real with you that unless you do jiu-jitsu, no one cares about. Like, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, but like, you know, someone that is coming in for jiu-jitsu, if you say, hey, do you know who PSF is? You know who Alliance is? Checkmat. You know, they don't care, you know what I mean, about that. They care about if you're a good person and if you can teach them jiu-jitsu. And so anyway, we were previously part of a different affiliation and we left them. And after we left, we were like, man, I literally told myself, I'm going to be unaffiliated and we're just going to get after it and we're going to do our thing. And then this is a time when, like, you know, the Daisy Fresh series was out and all that stuff. And I got a crazy call from actually Vernon Kirk. You guys know him. And he was like, hey, I messaged Heath about the seminar. And I was like, man, to be honest, I wasn't on like YouTube and stuff, right? Like, really? So I was like, oh, that's cool. And I started watching the series. I was like, man, it'd be so cool if they came by. And then Heath called Vernon back. And at the time, I was thinking like, man, we're just like a nobody. You know what I mean? In my head, like, we still, it's funny. We still don't have a black belt at our academy, right? So I'm just thinking in my head though, I was like, man, we're just a brown, you know, I'm just a brown belt. We're a relatively small school. So I was like, man, Heath isn't going to come out to us for those Daisy Fresh camps. And then sure enough, Vernon calls me and he was like, hey, Heath wants to come out to South Carolina. And that's how I met Heath. And again, prior to meeting them, I literally thought like, I don't want to be part of affiliation just because I had a bad, you know what I mean, bad taste in my mouth from the last one, unfortunately. And then I met Heath and I was like, you know what? It's going to be PSF or nothing, basically. And that's how big of an impact that Heath made to me, because he was the one, I mean, seriously, he was the one person that said, I said, you know, what would you do if you're in my shoes and you don't have a black belt at the school? And I was thinking all these other affiliations at the time wanted us to join bad. And ultimately, you know, maybe they wanted us to join because they thought we'd be a good add-on to the team, or they could have thought like, hey, this is an opportunity to make some more money and potentially, you know what I mean? Like, give them a black belt that has some hours. Heath was the only person that told me, you don't need a black belt. He's like, you need to give a crap about your students. Basically saying like, he watched VHS tapes and trained in the grass. We have BJJ fanatics. There's no excuse to not know anything anymore. I know Gordon talks about it all the time. It's like, the secret's out. If you want to be good at jiu-jitsu, it's already out there. And Heath was the only one that was just like, you need to be the guy. You need to go do this. And that was the first time in jiu-jitsu that I have anyone ever say that, as, you know, as the time as a brown belt, that was just like, you don't need anybody. Go after it. So then after that, I was like, man, that was awesome. I got to roll with some high-level guys. Michael Pixley absolutely killed me during that round. I saw him murder everybody. He was a white belt. We got to roll with a lot of people at that camp. And I was like, man, like we think like we have good jiu-jitsu. And then you go with some of these guys like, and it's like, oh, we suck. Like, I hate to say that, but it's like these advanced divisions are not advanced. Like we want to say that, like, but man, there's levels to everything, right? And you know, after that, I was like, I'm gonna follow these guys to Kentucky. So they did a camp there, and then after that, I was like, I'm gonna go to Mount Vernon. Heath probably got sick of me, man. To be honest, I went to he hosted it. I went to Kentucky and then went to Mount Vernon. And then I was fortunate enough at the time, CJ Murdoch and his brother, Josh Murdoch. I don't know if you guys know that, the Murdoch brothers, they were still in Spartanburg at the time. So I had a connection with CJ, and that's really ultimately how we ended up being PSF. It was, man, I really liked how they did things, and Heath and you know, CJ was the only people that were telling me like, you don't need anybody else. work really hard, study BJJ fanatics basically, and you have no excuse to. And I took it and ran with it, man. So I can't say enough good things about Heath and how he runs the how he runs PSF affiliates, man. They're amazing.
It's really, really cool. I feel like, I don't know if it's a pride thing or what it is with a lot of these sponsors and all of that. The black belts. It's funny, even this week, my coach gave kind of a little speech on how, like, belts are nice to kind of mark where you are. They're nice to see the progress, but you shouldn't be chasing the belts. And really, the belts are not necessarily a mark of where you're at. It's, you need to be focused on improving yourself in jiu-jitsu, not where your belt is, not what color your belt is compared to everybody else. It's really just how good you are.
That's awesome, dude.
What are some of the biggest takeaways from training with PSF competitors?
Yeah, I just think the cool thing I liked about it when I go up and train there is there isn't one game, and that was cool to a room. Like sometimes you go to a gym and the head coach, like whatever game that they have, that's what the students have. And at training with the PSF guys, like, man, there'll be like a leg locking specialist that they pull guard every single time. And then there'll be like, a collegiate wrestler that all they're doing is outside passing. So they don't have like, you know what I mean? Besides like maybe like, they got all really good at the knee cut for a long time and they were knee cutting everybody. But other than like a few moves, they're not known for like, they're just known for working really hard and getting after it. And that would be my biggest takeaway from training with them. It's just like, it's cool because the room should have multiple games. Not everyone is built the same. You know what I mean? You're a 300-pound wrestler versus your 120-pound, true jiu-jitsu athlete shouldn't have the same game. And that's my biggest takeaway is just they work hard and people that at PSF, like, I think we get the vibe of like, we're going to murder each other, like that train hard, gritty style. But dude, if you go to Mount Vernon, you're going to see like, man, there's 40-year-old moms of 3 that train every day there. It's not just like you know what I mean? It's not just like obviously the show kind of, the laundromat was pretty gritty. You know what I mean? Then no AC, no heat, but
Like
you just go
mall.
up there. Yeah. It's like, you're gonna, anyone's welcome there, so that's my biggest takeaway, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, because a guy we was talking yesterday at the gym about having different games because having a coach teaching just one move or like certain way, when some people don't have the dexterity to do them, it makes it difficult. Like just like or basically like cookie cutter jiu-jitsu.
Yes,
It doesn't work. It's good to have like a gym that has like different stuff going on because that's the beauty about the jiu-jitsu game. It applies to everybody. Do you recently have Gordon Ryan having a session in your gym? How did the opportunity come about hosting him?
Yeah, so basically I can't say enough good stuff about the Independence Fund. The Independence Fund does a lot of good things for the community, for our Carolina community, but also just like a national, you know what I mean? They're nationwide stuff. But basically, I was fortunate enough to know somebody that is from the Independence Fund. I'm sure she wouldn't care if I said her name, but Sarah Verardo. I can't say enough amazing things about Sarah. And her girls train jujitsu, and to be honest, it's a little bit of luck too, like good timing and just the facility that we have, we're fortunate able to have. We were able to hold 200 people, you know what I mean? Some without having to go rent out like a ballroom or something. We could just have it in the gym with the mats. We have the cage. So yeah, man, just the Sarah Verardo and the Independence Fund made the Gordon Ryan seminar possible. And what's really crazy, he did it for free, man. He did it for literally for free to give back to the community. And then he, on that same night, if you guys know what the Checkers hockey team is in Charlotte, he went up there and donated a track share basically for like wounded veterans. So then they can get out and still, you know what I mean, go around in the woods and stuff. This thing's sweet. It's like a tank, but like a wheelchair. It's pretty awesome.
Wow. What's the spirit like for you and your students having him at the gym?
Yeah, man, it was pretty cool. It's like if you guys watch though, like I don't know if you guys watch his instructionals. It was pretty like he's systemized in everything he teaches. Like so, like I appreciated it because we didn't do some move that's crazy. I've seen some seminars and like they'll do some crazy move, and I'm just like, dude, I'm not doing this. Like, there's no way this is happening for me. It's not in the cards. And he just showed like a really simple from the like cowboy back take position. Their partner starts quad potting up, keep the weight on the hands, take the back basically. And it was very just like, if they do this, like you do one move. Gordon's really big about this. You do one move and you're going to get either option. You're going to get reaction A or B. And based on what reaction you do, the opponent does, he has options for both. And I think that style of teaching is money, where it's just like very simple. Like you do this move, they're going to do X, Y, Z. And if they do X, Y, Z, you have an option. So it was perfect, man.
It is fascinating to see how well he breaks down moves. Simple things that it's just hard to put into words sometimes.
Yeah, it makes it simple. And I've actually recently, I don't know if you know, like Josh James, but he trains at our gym, and I finally broke down and was like, I was like, man, I'm not using the Japanese ashi leg stuff. I was like, I'm never gonna learn that. I'm calling the triangle a triangle. And then I started watching Gordon's stuff, and I was like, damn it, I'm gonna have to learn both of these now. I'm like, because he was like, he's not saying, hey, it's either single leg X or this, or a triangle or this. Like, no, he uses all the traditional Japanese terms. I was like, all right, man, I'm getting on board. I gotta learn. If he came to the gym, I'm on board now. So it was good though. Good time.
I don't know if you watch wrestling, college wrestling. There's this kid that he's Japanese. That he wrestled for Oklahoma State, but he doesn't speak any English. So they had like signs on the side. The coaches had signs in Japanese telling what to do. So you have to do whenever you're in matches.
How good is he then? Jeez, he can read a sign mid-match. Yeah, I'm just struggling to breathe, man. I don't think I'm reading anything.
It's like, oh god, it's like that's like probably can you add Japan after taking all those courses? You can add Japanese to your resume.
Right, Jiu-Jitsu. Right. I need to use that. People give me crap anyway because my mom is she's half Japanese, and her maiden name is Yamamura. And so like people joke around, they're like, man, like we have a coach Long, he's like, man, you're a fake Asian. And so he just always gives me crap. He's like, you're a fake Asian, and just says it every day. And then I was like, man, I at least gotta learn a little bit now. So
yeah. You went full circle. You went out of your way to learn jiu-jitsu, and you come back to your roots.
Exactly. That's exactly full circle. Let's go.
Recently, I saw you're commentating for Fight to Win. Like, how do you get involved in that?
Yeah, so it was actually, it's funny that we bring up Vernon again. I feel like Vernon has opened some random doors for me. You know what I mean? So Vernon got asked to do a commentating, and he was like, hey, they told him like, bring somebody with you. And I've done it for like our small shows. But the other cool thing was like, the cool stuff is I pretty much knew everybody in the community already. You know what I mean? Because like, man, we really do have like, some schools are like, oh, I don't like this. Man, we have good relations with pretty much everybody. I'm like, I want everyone to succeed. You know what I mean? He basically opened that door, and it was kind of cool though. It was kind of cool. I got a good seat to watch jiu-jitsu for 3 hours. So, you know what I mean? I was like, man, this is perfect.
It's fun. I don't know if I ever told you, whenever I have a match with you, Vernon, he used to be affiliate of our gym. So he's telling you what to do. I was like, I thought he was talking to me the whole time. And then I saw my other coach came from his son's match and said the other show. I was like, what the fuck? He was coaching the whole time. This coaching, I know.
I thought we were trying the same stuff, bro.
Yeah,
it makes sense now. No, it's like, it's funny though too. So like when we competed, that was actually like when we were unaffiliated, right? So we weren't with PSF or anything. And Vernon came and taught a few classes at the gym at the time. So I asked him definitely to coach me at the time. That's funny though, man. But yeah, he says, because he's still part. I think, are you guys Rebel still, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, Vernon, says always good stuff. So
yeah, but it was confusing. I was like, why did it tell me? I even gave me a thumbs up right before the match. Like,
he did that. Oh man, he tried to do you dirty.
I know.
I hope he watches this. He tried to do him dirty, Vernon.
He double crossed me.
That's messed up. He double crossed. He needs to clip this. We saw you, bro. Got you.
Now, what was the experience like compared to being on the mat competing as a commentator?
It was cool, man. It's no nerves. You know what I mean? Like that was weird. So if you're competing, you have a little bit of nerves. And then if you're coaching, you have maybe more nerves even. But commentating, it was just like, it was just fun. Cause I just gotta like, you know what I mean? I just gotta sit back and talk about jujitsu, and it was like fun. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, I didn't have any skin in the game. You know what I mean? For any competitor. So that was cool just to be on the outside of that and just sit back and just get to watch some jujitsu. We had a couple people that competed on the fight to win card, so I just took the headset off, win coached them. But for the most part of the night, it was a lot of matches though too, man. Like fight to win, they pack out. Like for our show, I put a 3-hour hard stop. We had a lot of people were like, hey, can we get you on? I was like, I'm sorry, because we're gonna get you out of there in 3 hours. Fight to win's awesome, but it was legit from 5 to like, dude, we didn't get out of there till like almost midnight. It was insane. But people are like, how'd you? They're like, was you not bored? I was like, man, I was just watching jujitsu. I'm lucky that I'm not joking. The day that I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to go teach class, I'm gonna quit. I'll sell the gym. Like that's not even an exaggeration. Like the day that I'm just like, like it feels like work, I'm gonna quit and I'll sell the gym and go do something else. So
That's good. You do something that you love. That's a job.
for sure, man.
It basically feels like when you commentate, just like you're at home watching matches, like CJ or something like that, just with your bodies. You just
It's
telling
weird.
people.
Yeah, and then you're just like, you're not talking sometimes, and it kind of, people were watching at home though, and one of the mics was going out. Unfortunately, Vernon's mic started to go out. So they were like, are you talking to yourself? And I was like, oh, man, like, I was like, crap, just thinking that I was like, and then I went back and watched it, and I saw a few matches. It literally looked like I was a crazy person because I would talk and then I would respond to something that wasn't there. And so people probably think I'm insane. I'm never getting offered back. So that might be the second time I did it, but might be the last. They're like, this dude's insane. But
It's split personalities.
He just
yeah,
loves jiu-jitsu.
exactly, man. If I would have known, I should have done his full split personalities. Literally had a whole conversation. But
Just put a hat on the other personality.
exactly, man. But it was fun, bro. It was good.
Do you have any insight into how jiu-jitsu events can grow the audience with better commentary and production?
Yeah, I think commentary helps for sure. I think so. We recently, and I know this might be a question later, but we recently switched to like I think the format of jiu-jitsu has to change for it to be sometimes mainstream. And what I mean by that is like, for example, if I don't know if you guys watch golf, okay? If you don't watch golf, it's probably because you don't play golf. Right now, jiu-jitsu is for people that do jiu-jitsu. You watch jiu-jitsu because you do jiu-jitsu. So how would that change? We're gonna have to add fun commentary, but also make it in a way that somebody else understands. So like for the TFA Pro, we decided to do 3-minute rounds with they're judged. You know what I mean? They're judged per round, and there's a 1-minute break in between rounds. So then if someone watches MMA, they're like, oh, this is round 1, 2, and 3. That guy won 2 the rounds. You know what I mean? And I think CGI did the same thing pretty much with the pit. They did round by round scoring. And I think that was really smart, man, because then if someone's just watching grappling, it's closer to MMA. There's casual, everyone like, now MMA is mainstream, man. Most people that watch MMA do not fight. I would argue that most people that do MMA, I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I would say they don't do any form of combat sport. Most people that watch MMA. So I think for jiu-jitsu, I think we need to, you know what I mean, make it kind of closer to a combat sport that's more popular. And I don't know if you guys watch ONE FC. I think it's sick, the stuff that they're doing, like putting a grappling match on a main card. And then Dana White just made an announcement about they're going to pour some real money into jiu-jitsu. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I think Fight Pass is doing a killer job. I don't know if y'all watch that or not. So.
Yeah. It also helps a lot because the MMA part for casual is easy to understand. But the jiu-jitsu game, if you know moves, you know what somebody's going for, how somebody's defending. If you don't have a commentator, it's hard to follow an event.
And I don't know if you guys have, do you guys now, I feel like MMA is so mainstream that I don't know if you guys have ever gotten a white belt in your gym that kind of knew a triangle. And I like, we've been getting people in here and I'm like, I'm not joking. They're actually, some of these younger kids are actually making me feel old. I know I'm Masters Division, but I'm only 31, but they're making me feel old because they literally told me, it's like, how did you learn that? They said UFC 4. And I'm like, what? The video game? They're literally, some of these kids are coming in, they're playing PlayStation and learning how to do a freaking armbar from a UFC 4, from their PS5 or Xbox. That's so crazy, man. Like, it's so different. It's so different than it even was like 10 years ago. It's insane.
Yeah, it's weird. Max Holloway, he said that's why he started training based off the UFC game. Like he used to like map out his training camp because of that.
That's insane, man.
But yeah, it's weird because I've seen this little kid, these two brothers that go to the gym. He's just like going for move, but the scrambling too, like putting moves together. It's like, hi, how did he learn that? He's like watching videos at home.
That's
Whenever
insane.
yeah, how much time does he have to watch videos at home?
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, the future in
That
good
is.
hands. We have more kids like that.
Yeah. It's going to be crazy, man.
It's really, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it is really cool to see how like a lot of times it does seem like teenagers pick it up really fast. They do a lot of studying on their own. They're able to like really invest time into, more than, work. Unfortunately, I work 9 to 5.
Right.
Or a little bit less time for that. But it is humbling to see how fast they can improve, but really cool to see at the same time. Love to see that.
It's awesome,
The new
man.
passion for jiu-jitsu.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your upcoming event.
Yeah, man. So it's just a TFA Pro. Basically, what we're doing is we have a live DJ. It is cage grappling. That's the other thing. I think cage grappling, you could substitute cage with pit. You know what I mean? Either one of those. In my opinion, it makes grappling way more exciting. I'm gonna pick on us when we had a match. If we would have had that same match in a pit, we would have gotten taken down. Like, you know what I mean? We would have, because even when me and you had a match, we're sitting there pushing. How many times we push each other out of bounds? It's going to happen where a cage, your back is against a cage now. Now you got to open up wall wrestling. A pit, same thing. You can't put your back against you're going to fall. You literally just fall. It's like you're getting tripped. So it isn't a cage, which we really like that. It does have a live DJ. And basically we host like 23 matches. The card's always like 3 hours. It'll be live on our YouTube. Yeah, and we have kids. Actually, you guys, Ryan Long. I believe he trains with you guys. He's gonna be on the card. Excited to see him back in action. His match is gonna be a good match. Him and the kid he's going against just keep trading wins back and forth. So it's gonna be cool to see Ryan Long in action from your guys' gym, because he's gonna get 3-minute rounds. The 3-minute rounds is kind of cool. We tested it out on like a Friday night a couple of times, and it worked out really good, because let's say you get in a bad spot. What are you going to do? Well, if there's only 1 minute left in the round, just survive. You lose the round, and then you get to start back on your feet. So it definitely changes, like, versus a 5-minute match. Man, if you get in a bad spot, someone holds you in side control. Dude, I know we say, okay, there's all these escapes, but man, if someone's good, it can be tough. Someone can cook you in north-south for 2 minutes, and you're down by 2 points. What are you going to do? There's ways to get out, but it's hard. Versus this 3-minute rounds, it's going to be kind of cool, because the other thing, strategy comes into play. If you're up by 2 rounds and you're up by 2 rounds, what do you do in the third? You do coast? Yeah, exactly. And it puts the other person, they're like, oh crap, I'm down by 2. You're going to see some like crazy Imanari attempts, like flying, you're down anyway. You got to go for the knockout. The submission's the knockout. So I'm really excited about it, man. It'll be live, free on YouTube.
How are the rounds being scored? Is it 10-8 round? Or is it like individual rounds?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that, man. So we did take out the 10-8. So it's gonna, even if you beat somebody up, now this is where it's gonna be fun for, and I don't know if we're still, even if you guys are in the area, come judge. We're gonna rotate our judges. But the judges, we're gonna ask them to look for, submission attempts, positional, advancing your position, and aggressiveness. So usually it's gonna be straightforward. Where it gets kind of crazy, let's say we have athlete A that hits a takedown, passes the guard, and goes to mount. Okay? With 30 seconds left, athlete B escapes, throws up a triangle. It's really tight. The other athlete A is turning purple. They look like they're about to tap. Time goes off. Who won the round? You see what I'm saying? It is subjective. We could all say, well, I still think the guy took him down. He got caught at the end. Or you could say, hey, the other guy was close to the knockout. He dropped him. right? Or the equivalent of. So that's what I like about it. It is Chase Gamble trains a little bit with us, and he jokes around with the kids. He said when we take them up for like youth MMA, he said you got to make it so obvious your grandma knows who won. And then that's what it's gonna be like if people complain about a decision. It's like, let's make it so obvious that someone that doesn't know about jiu-jitsu is like, that person won. So I'm excited, man. It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm. That sounds interesting because like not even like college wrestling is at 3-2-2 round periods.
Right.
But like 3-3, that's like feels a long time.
Yeah, and it's weird because like people think like, oh, that's not a long time. But I'm glad you compared it to the 3-2s because that I would argue that, you know, I don't want to admit this of doing more jiu-jitsu, but even my whoop, it knows when I go to wrestling practice versus jiu-jitsu practice. You know why? Because my heart rate is higher at wrestling practice and the rounds are shorter. And so I think when people say, oh man, it's only 3 minutes. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, man. It's gonna be tough. Tough 3 minutes.
The last 3 minutes ago is a nightmare.
Terrible. And it's gonna be interesting too, because like let's say you hand fight for 2 minutes, right? And then there's 1 minute left in the round. Do you send it? You try to go steal the round? You know what I mean? Are you gonna push? Or if you push too hard and gas yourself for the second and third, I don't know. I'm excited. Obviously we have a lot of people from our team competing, but also there's a lot of people from everywhere else competing. I'm just excited for some of these matchups are awesome. So I'm really pumped about it.
Yeah, there's some things that take consideration as well, because that like you were saying, 2 minutes for hand fighting, and then try to get the last minute, and then the rest period, you don't know how fast you can recover between rounds before adrenaline comes back up and try attacking the next round. Like how you train for that?
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out, I guess. We're going to see if we did a good job. I don't know. And even we didn't change it for kids, man. Kids are going to be 3-3s. So I know you know your guy Ryan, he's going to get 3-3s. And that's pretty awesome because think about that. If you're a kid, sometimes your match is 3 minutes and that's it. You go to a new breed, maybe your match is 4 minutes, but unless you're like juvenile blue, you're not going to get 5. You're going to get 3-minute rounds or 3-minute match and then you're done. Or some of these kids, selfishly, why I'm excited, they might get 9 minutes of grappling. And for me, our kids, man, I don't care about their record. Like, that's the other thing. Like, we have some people that are like, trying to like, I want to make sure my kids go against good, man, I'm always like, let's just give them experience. That's the one thing that jiu-jitsu, I don't know if you guys know this, but like from wrestling, they might have a novice division that's 2 years under and 2 years over. Well, guess what? The 2 years and over, if you wrestle for 2 years, you're in the open. You're going to wrestle kids that maybe wrestled since they were 3 years old. And guess what? You're going to have a match with them. It is what it is. And jiu-jitsu, like, to some extent, we're a little bit more protected. I mean, for a new breed, we have kids for like 0 to 6 months. I'm not saying it's bad, it's good. It builds their confidence, but it's a lot different than, hey, over 2 years.
You go to the real world real fast.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
Though that's cool, man. What goes into organizing and running like an event like this?
And just we really did it. So the only reason I started the TFA Pro series, to be real with you, is I got injured, couldn't compete, and I was just ADD. Like I was just like, man, I think I can do this. That'd be fun to do. And then I was like, cool, side quests unlocked, and it was just like a side thing, man. And I was like, cool. And then it turned out pretty good. So, but I mean, basically now we have it. I'm very thankful we have it dialed in. Before we didn't have it dialed in. So like we had to bring in the chairs. So right now we have it dialed in where the mats get stacked up and that's the walkout that's the walkout tunnel. And it's just the mats so we turn that into that. And then once the mats are up, I was able to put 150 chairs underneath the cage. So now it's like we put the mats up, 150 chairs come out, we're ready to rock. Versus before, it would be like, man, it'd be such more of an ordeal. We'd have to like order the chairs to come in. We would have to rent a U-Haul to put all the mats in the U-Haul to get them out of the gym. But instead of now, it's like the mats are the walkout tunnel. So now, we got it dialed in. But the most thing that comes down into like the most work, it's just like last minute. I know it happens, every time I'm like, if we had 23 matches and they all went off without one person pulling out, I would think the world was actually going to end. Like I would actually be kind of freaked out. But you know, that's the hardest thing is like the last minute matches. You know what I mean? But we're lucky. We know enough people are like, hey, we know enough crazy people where they're like, I don't care what they weigh or belt. Just, yeah, I'll do it. Sure. They're crazy. They're awesome.
Yeah, that can be rough. Like having matches made up and then people cancel the last minute. It's hard for matchmaking. How do you see like is local jiu-jitsu scene evolving with more random like this? Because you guys do a lot of TFA Pro.
Yeah, we try to do some fun events too, man. Like I don't know if you guys heard about the Donuts and Dollars that is coming up. That's kind of insane. When I do it, I have 1 good hour in me, and then I'm bouncing out of that thing. No, but we're trying to make jiu-jitsu fun, man. Where it's like, you know, we joke around the Donuts and Dollars. Well, someone's literally gonna win over $1,000, so it's like real cash money, like real good prize. But then also it's also a cool comp for just like, it's like the 5K of jiu-jitsu comps. You know what I mean? Like everyone go run a 5K, you know, let's go, let's just have fun. But yeah, the jiu-jitsu scene in our area, there's more opportunities to compete. I mean, you guys know this. Think about 5 years ago. You know, we might have to go 5 hours to compete. Man, if you don't want to, you could right now compete every month and probably not have to, in the Carolinas specifically, we probably wouldn't have to drive more than 4 hours. You could compete almost every weekend, you know? So there's just more opportunities for everybody. And, that's what's cool. I like it. There's like tournament formats, and then there's the super fights are booming right now. So I think it's going to keep going.
How many cups does usually show up to that donut competition?
How many people? Man, oh yeah, we joke, man, it's funny. Spatch, actually, that's funny. Spatch literally went in the comments and was like, where's all the cops at? And then we have one of our officers comment, they're like, we're not an idiot. That's why we'll die. You should see, I don't know if you guys know David Betancourt. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Last time he did it, he had to eat the donut so fast and go back out on the mats, right? He was getting darsed and a donut was coming out of his mouth. A donut's coming out of his mouth. There's a picture of it. I'll have to send you guys it. He's stuffing a donut in his mouth while being darsed and hoping that time will run out. I was literally seeing, like, I was like, he's going to die. I'm like, we're going to get sued. He's going to die. I was like, this is how the gym ends. He's going to choke on his donut. But yeah, I'll have to send you guys. I'll clip some footage. I'll send it to y'all. But it is the craziest footage you'll see. But yeah, I'm excited about it. It's just a fun comp, man. It's just really fun. Like, everyone's cool. So
that's cool. Like we talk about here in the podcast, like you want to get better and like competition wise. If you don't like, you can't compete. It's good to go cross training, but it's also good like for your team to have people come to the gym and like for competitions like that, you sign up for it because you don't have to worry about hotel, lodging, and things like that. Like you sleep in your own bed. You have to stress out about driving, being on time. And, like if you can bring the competition to your gym, yeah, I'm pretty sure that like that's also good.
It's free, man. You know, that's the other thing. Like even for us, I don't know about you guys, but a trip to Atlanta, you know, 4 hours, you're driving 8 hours. Let's say you get one hotel. Let's be nice about the hotel and say it's $100, and then a tournament's $150. So your 8 hours of driving plus your comp time plus $250. Like it just starts adding up, you know. So we're trying to give ways where our team, and guess what? It's no secret. I'm sure you guys realize this. The best competitors are people that compete the most. They do. It is what it is. I've seen, you know, obviously, I think you guys know who like Whit Ramey is. He just recently got his purple belt. Very long overdue, by the way. I think the whole community was like, yeah, like, thank God that this is done with so we can all get beat up by him. But like, he's one, like, man, there was a time where Whit just did I saw him at every competition, you know? And it's like the guys and girls that compete the most are the best at competition. Generally speaking, you know, so
you can make adjustments in real time, one weekend to the other one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exponentially use your game because you go in live, real life.
And that, you know, one of my coaches, CJ Murdoch, he just came in. He actually said, he's like, you need to thank your opponent. He's like, you just said real time is exactly what he said. He was like, let's say you go and you get leg lock. They just taught you what you got to work on. They literally just gave you the formula to get better now in practice because you competed. So I 100% agree with that real time. That's great.
So I have a couple of questions. Like, how do you approach like coaching and developing talent?
Yeah, I think you know, I know there's a big I don't know if you guys have like you heard always the big debate like the ecological versus drilling. You know, if we had to put labels on it, I like to mix it up. You know what I mean? I like to do both. To be honest with you guys, I don't do any warm-ups. Okay? So that's kind of, you know, I got that from Heath. Like when I'm not against it, but when I say I don't do any warm-ups, we're not doing high knees. We're not doing, you know, butt kicks, jog, shrimp across the mat. We're just going to learn that through jujitsu. So a lot of the times, you know, I literally look at it as like, I have 1 hour to make the students better. If I am talking for too long, I'm wasting their time. You know, I want to show them the moves. We usually try to do a couple moves, warming up a lot of times with like hand fighting, something that's practical. Hand fighting. Maybe it's half guard going for an underhook, some sort of warm up, like a practical warm up. Usually, if it's a move, I will never teach more than 3 moves in a class because it's too much. People can't retain it. And then we'll do situational rolls at fundamental class. Our regular class is usually, you know, it's just a lot of times we start with open rolls and then we end with technique. So basically how our jiu-jitsu is structured at night, it will be an hour fundamental class. You know, fundamentals doesn't even mean easy, but it's an hour. And then we end with rolls the first half, and then it goes into the second class. The second class starts with rolls, ends with technique.
Okay. So the technique are based off the what you see during the class, or just like a curriculum wise?
Yeah, so I don't have a hard set curriculum. I think I think there's good things about being like a curriculum, like, okay, this is our guard week, or this is our whatever. But sometimes you get, I think, over curriculum out, where like someone's like, we're going to do this month, we're going to do how to pass close guard or close guard, passing and playing it, right? But then what, you're neglecting everything else. You know what I mean? So like a lot of this stuff is based off of what the you know, the competition, you know, what are we doing well? What do we need to work on as a team? Every team comp, after our team comps, I use that to like lesson plan the next 2 months, because I see like, okay, we did good. And actually Gordon said something interesting. Gordon Ryan, when he was there, someone asked him the same question. I thought it was an interesting take. He said that, you know, Danaher, he bases the class off of the best 3 guys there. And I thought that was interesting for their like comp style training. But for us, you know, we just train everybody. We train, you know what I mean? We're going to have masters, kids, adults. So I try to teach very high percentage things. Not, you know what I mean? Not like, okay, we're going to do a pass out of De La Hiva. You know what I mean? That's assuming that, okay, they got to De La Hiva. You're doing, I try to just show a lot of things that are like, this is the most high percentage positions that you're going to find yourself in a match. And I want our team the best at those positions. And if we will address the other niche stuff when it arises. So
that's interesting, because it's good training that way rather than base curriculum, like training in guard, but meanwhile all you comp athletes that get a really naked show. Like, it's the curriculum
exactly.
is just so to have a curriculum, but also it helps you keep an ear to the ground to what your team needs to get better at jiu-jitsu. What are your long terms for the gym?
Like long-term goals. Yeah, I just want to really stay on track to where we're going. I really believe, you know, adult world champions are loading in our kids. You know what I mean? Like literally, like that's the thing. Like right now, I believe we have a very, very good kids program, and we have one of the best masters program. And I'm not just, when I say we have one of the best masters program, I'm using them going and winning worlds and master worlds and that stuff as like, you know, data to suggest that. But yeah, I just think, you know, the team, we have a good adult program, but I think some of these kids that are coming up are going to be like, it's crazy, man. The kids that train since they're 5 and are going to be teenagers now, I mean, you should see it's actually terrifying. Like they're going to kill me when they're 15 years old. They're so good. And I would just say, you know, it's like, it's scary. But yeah, just keep growing the MMA team, the kickboxing team, and just really just stay on track and not, I don't want us getting, 3 years ago, we won nothing as a team. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like right now, some people come in and they're like, man, like we have a team wall of like banners and stuff. And people come in there now and they're like, oh man, you guys have won a lot. If you take 4 years ago, we didn't win anything. we literally won nothing as a team. And so I think now that we're starting to have some success, I think it's just important to stay hungry, if that makes sense, and keep driving, find ways to keep innovating, keep driving forward. Complacency can kill, and that's my goal long term, is to not let that happen.
I think that speaks a lot for like the gym atmosphere that you guys have over there. Just, I mean, you talk about accepting other gyms and, you know, not really creating good relationships with other people. But I think a lot of it is the gym atmosphere that you create that keeps people coming back to keep training, to keep competing. I really think that's huge for that. So that's really cool to see what you guys have done.
I think like to that, you know, to your point, it's like with the culture. I previously trained at, like, you know, this is a long time ago, a gym where like people would go in and we trained, no one talked. It was just like you go murder each other, and then it was just like, all right, bye. It was never like, you know what I mean? It was never a gym family, you know what I mean? And in my opinion, a gym needs to be a place where you actually have a community that gives a crap about you, and not gives a crap about you. Like, there's some people like, you know, okay, I'm gonna give a crap about this person because they're paying a membership. No, like actually caring about somebody, even if they canceled, and you know what I mean, actually care about them, actually have a good community.
You're making long-term relationships, and also like I heard that you usually listen to your students as well, being lending an ear for advice and things as well.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, that's the thing too. Is like, it goes back to why I really like Heath. So some of these gyms, man, it's crazy. Just because you're a black belt doesn't mean you're better than anybody. You know what I mean? Like, literally, you have a black belt, who cares? You know, that's like saying whatever. You know, a D1 wrestler doesn't walk around like, I'm a better person than you because I'm a D1 wrestler. You know what I mean? Like, so that's what I try to take advice, you know, from. Doesn't mean you have to act on everything, right? But I try to listen to you know what I mean? Listen to your students and figure out like, hey, this was good feedback, this was not feedback. And having a community where they feel like they can give their advice. You know, I've been to some schools where like, you would never, like a white belt wouldn't go up to a black belt and be like, hey, I really like this, I think you should do more of that. You know what I mean? We have a culture where people will literally, like, if they're like, man, I thought that class was amazing, could you potentially do more of that? You know what I mean? So I think that's huge, man.
Are you looking like what advice would you give to somebody just looking to do like transition from coaching to gym ownership?
Yeah, I would just say, you know, just treat people how you want to be treated, you know, and just, if you're actually care about what you're doing, your gym's gonna grow. You know, I would say for somebody that, I think it's hard to just, if you owned a gym and you weren't a coach at your gym, you know what I mean? That, then I just don't think you should do it. It's not like, it's not the most lucrative. There's easier ways to make money. You know what I mean? There's definitely easier ways to make money. But if someone was going to be like a coach and they're like, okay, I'm going to go open up a gym, you know, I would just say the other thing too is use everything you can to learn. It's so easy to learn. You could ask Chat GPT. I did this and I sent it to my wife. I put in Chat GPT even. I said, hey, how to open a successful MMA gym, just to see what it would say. And I thought it was going to be like just cookie cutter. And I was like, holy crap, man, this is anymore. Like all the information, if you need to know how to open a website, if you need to know how to do ads yourself, even if you need a curriculum, there's no excuse to have a bad curriculum. Go to BJJ Fanatics and copy what they're teaching almost verbatim, you know, and you have a good curriculum. So that'd be my advice. Really just learn from everywhere and just soak up all the knowledge and just, you know, yeah, just go for it. Yeah, I think you have to be all in too. That's the other thing. I don't think you can open a MMA gym and be 100% successful if you are doing a bunch of other stuff. I think it has to almost be, and in some ways, I'm thankful of the adversity early on about, you know, being able to tell my wife, like, hey, can you hold the family up for 8 months so I can go all in? Because I think if I would have worked another job during that time, I don't think I would have been where we're at today. I really believe that.
Yeah. You start to give 100% when you're doing 5 things at the same time.
Exactly.
What's your perspective of Evolution of Jiu-Jitsu, both as sports and as a business?
Like what the perspective on just jiu-jitsu is?
Yeah, the evolution, of the sport itself.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, man, to see how far it's come. Like, you know, it's funny, like UFC started in 1993. If you knew how to do an armbar in the 90s, you were a ninja. You know what I mean? And now it's like, it's crazy. I don't think it is going to stop. I think the difference now is seriously like the amount of knowledge that was not accessible before. You know, now everything's accessible. Like if somebody really wanted to learn something, they could do it. The other thing too, I think the game is you're now, I think you're done seeing crazy new moves. You know, we had the whole leg lock wave that come through. Now you're seeing the outside passing, wrestling. I think it's coming to us, you know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, now we know all the different moves. Now it's like sharpen them, sharpen them, sharpen them. And, you know, I think that's why you're seeing like the whole debate, like the ecological versus what, you know what I mean? Like that debate's happening now because it's like, it's less about who's going to learn a crazy new move now. Now that's gone. Everyone has the same moves. It's going to be how good can we get people fast? And what I'm hoping happens is like in wrestling, how there's like wrestling leagues. I hope wrestling league, jiu-jitsu leagues start for kids. I think that would be pretty cool to see happen. If it doesn't happen, we'll just do it. We'll try to make
an event.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. But hopefully someone else. I don't have that much time. I can't do it. But that'd be cool to do. You know what I mean? Like I have duels instead of like a tournament. Just have like a wrestling duel where it's like four jiu-jitsu schools. That'd be sick.
What do you think about the difference between duels and quintets as far as competition?
I mean, I think the quintet format for adults is awesome. I love the team aspect to that. I think duels will be a little bit easier for kids because we have all the different weight. Like you know what I mean? Like a 7-year-old going that weighs 60 pounds versus 100 pounds. They're not going to let that match happen versus adults. Like a quintet's just like, hey, if your team made under 1,000 pounds, like let's run it, you know? But I think for duels for kids is going to be like, that's going to be money. And I think it's going to be awesome for this. I hope that happens. I really do. I think it'd be so good for the sport because we got to get more matches for these kids. That's, you know, and not pay. I would think about this. How much would you guys think, you know, if you had to get 100 matches, how much money would that cost you?
It's a lot.
Like literally, how much would it cost for 100 matches? Good luck. It's going to cost, you know, like thousands. Or wrestling, they do a couple seasons, they get 100 matches. So we got to fix that somehow. And, you know, hopefully the more super fight events from different schools and stuff help fix that problem. So
yeah, I don't see how, like, because we have like different schools, like for example in the Triangle and here in North Carolina, they have a lot of schools there, and they should probably have like regions in which they should be able to have. The first Charlotte has a lot of schools. If they have like a kids program, they should be able to have regional events, like maybe like once a month have or something like that, like tools in those places.
Yes, that'd be awesome, man. You should do it. Make it happen. We'll go. If you host it, we'll go.
Let me find a couple of mats in a skating ring.
Yeah, that's outdoor at first, whatever it takes, bro. When you're there.
You get free interest to the skating ring after the matches.
Exactly. No.
But yeah, man, like it's good to have like building those, especially kids, because kids learn so fast things. And also like the thing about it, like how many times are you seeing that certain parents are competing and they say like, oh, the reason why I started jiu-jitsu was because my kids was doing the kids class. So I started to join too. So it makes like it just like spreads out more as far as like going back to like the evolution of jiu-jitsu. Because back in the day I used to do like in 2012, and you look at like you were like savage or something like that if you started doing jiu-jitsu back then. But now you see different kind of people get into the sport, and people you went to school with, like, oh, they're starting to do jiu-jitsu.
MMA wasn't even legal in all 50 states, man. Like that's what's crazy. I remember in high school, so I mean I graduated in 2012, but I mean even throughout my high school, I mean not all states was even legal to fight MMA. So you know, you talk about jiu-jitsu, it's like you get, if you do jiu-jitsu, you're put in the same category as MMA fighters. You're a savage, you're you know, you have a face tattoo, and that's what you do.
A couple of felonies.
You have a couple of felonies, face tat, and you're exactly, it's a little bit of CTE, you're ready to go.
Yeah, but now any kind of jiu-jitsu, like different people do it, like different people that are like potheads, cops, have people that are like science major, people that are just different kind of personality, and that makes it fun too, because you get to learn from other people within the gym, and that's like the beauty of the sport, like as far as evolving. within the community. Do you have any questions?
The question? Not at the moment. No.
Yeah, but man, just thank you, man, for coming here, man.
No, man, I just I love this stuff, man. I could sit there and talk like it's just, you know, I'm glad you guys are doing this and stuff. And are you guys, you know, what's the best way that people can reach you, man? Like, is it Spotify? Is it what's the best way that they can you know, listen to this?
Spotify, YouTube,
Awesome, man.
Amazon Music,
Amazon Music,
Apple,
yeah.
Awesome.
anywhere, even iHeartRadio as well. Anywhere that you want to listen to, you can find us in there.
Awesome,
That
man.
Matters podcast. Then where can people follow you and keep like sign up for your events, because you guys have a lot of events.
Instagram seems like it's the most, you know, we have our YouTube channel, Triumph Fight Academy, but I would say the most, you know, for the events, just our Triumph Fight Academy Instagram page is the easiest way to follow us in all those events. And then most of our events, like the TFA Pros, we will just put them on Smooth Comp now. I think Smooth Comp does a great job. It's easy for people to find everything. And we're basically going to try to have a super fight once every, I'll say 3 months, but it might even be every 2 months. But yeah, Triumph Fight Academy on Instagram is the best way to follow us. And yeah, I appreciate you guys doing this, and because it spreads the sport, and getting different perspectives, I think is an amazing thing for the community.
Thank you, man. I've already joined us. I wish I could do a TFA Pro like this weekend.
We'll get you on. Next one, we got you. Tune into his match. It'll be good.
You guys can run it back, right?
No, I'm ducking, bro. We just gave a whole thing about I don't miss it, bro. No, it's like that'd be a good one though. That'd be a good one.
Just get the donuts ready. If I can make it out, I'll get the donuts ready.
Hey, the first roll, I got you. Let's hit it. Let's kick it off. Try to make donuts and dollars. The first 3-minute roll, we need to make a pact though. We're not subbing each other. Not giving you donuts the first one.
No.
Well, yeah, man, I appreciate you guys, and it was good chatting with y'all. And we'll see you hopefully at Donuts and Dollars. Might even see you guys over the weekend. So,
yeah, thank you.
Really appreciate it.